The struggles of CNN, that is the subject of tonight's Waters Words. The Fox News channel used to compete against CNN, but not anymore. Take a look at the basic cable ratings for the first quarter of 2018. Fox News number 1, MSNBC number 2, CNN 7. CNN's being beaten by channels like HGTV, Investigation Discovery, and Nickelodeon. What happened? Let's take a look. Here are the stories CNN has decided to own recently. A missing plane.
What if it was hijacking or terrorism or mechanical failure or pilot error? But what if it was something fully that we don't really understand? A lot of people have been asking about black holes.
A fired, possibly drunk Trump hanger-oner.
Talking to you,
Yeah.
I have smelled alcohol on your breath.
Well, I have not had a drink.
You haven't had a drink, so that's
No.
not.
No.
So I just, because it is the talk out there, again, I know it's awkward, let me just give you the questions.
Well,
you can categorically answer them. No, you haven't had a drink today?
My answer is no. I have not.
Anything else?
No.
No.
No. Besides my meds.
Okay.
Antidepressants. Is that okay?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to understand
Well, look. They
what
can say
happened today.
And a porn star.
Does Stormy Daniels have the president's number? It sure seems that way.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
The reason he can't engage with Stormy Daniels is because she's got his number.
But how does that square with CNN's new promo that casts the network as a paragon of journalistic credibility?
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not.
So CNN's in the truth-telling business? What about CNN's fake news story about Trump Jr. coordinating with WikiLeaks? Or CNN's fake video of Trump feeding fish in Japan? Or CNN's fake news story about Comey's testimony? Or CNN's fake news story about Scaramucci and the Russians, which was redacted and led to 3 people resigning? And CNN primetime has become almost unwatchable. Here's why.
Can I answer your damn question about who cares? The people who care are the immigrants who are sick and tired of having this White House attack us and bash us on a daily basis.
I'm sick and tired of listening to your shrill voice in my ears.
The people who are maligned on a daily basis.
That was an excuse. Look at even how they got the permit. And can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
The guy doesn't even know the law. He's a thug. Right. Your friend is a thug.
Well, thank you. That's $1 million.
No, that's
$1 million. $1 million. You know what? You're a thug. Anyone who would come on here.
You hate it so much because you're just so weak inside. That's your substantive argument to me, Rick Wilson, who backed every losing candidate in America.
John, I will gut you like a fish on this show if you want to keep this up.
Now, this type of mayhem completely undercuts CNN's so-called identity as a mature, straight news network. There are great journalists at the network, don't get me wrong. I'm just not going to name them because I don't know if they'd take that as a compliment coming from me. But the bottom line is the network is filled with Trump-hating tabloid food fights. You don't believe me? Look at how much time was devoted to Stormy Daniels compared to how much time was devoted to the spending bill. The spending bill obviously has much more impact on the lives of Americans than gossip. But maybe CNN's just trying to hold people's attention while they're waiting for their flight at the airport. Or maybe they're just throwing Hail Marys because they're in last place. Here with her reaction, conservative commentator and the host of CRTV's Michelle Malkin Investigates, Michelle Malkin. Good to see you, Michelle.
You too, Jesse.
So what do you think about that CNN analysis? I mean, I just think they're desperate. What do you have to say?
Well, I think you're spot on. Forget apples and bananas. CNN is serving up rotten fruit that they dress up as news, and it's no longer a news network anymore. And clearly, former CNN viewers are voting with their fingers and walking right up the remote control and changing the channel. The network no longer provides information, and it certainly isn't entertaining anymore to people. You should have given a health warning before you played that little montage there, Jesse, because I should have taken an ibuprofen beforehand. I've got this ringing headache, and it is a shame. I want to be fair, because I think you're absolutely right that there are good journalists there, and even though they won't accept our praise for it, I mean, you've got people who were foreign correspondents and war and war correspondents, veterans of many of wars of coverage, and now it's embarrassing because they're essentially promoters for porn stars and people who really need to take medication on their own. Hoy.
Well, I'm sorry, Michelle, for not warning you about the food fight video. I do apologize, and I apologize to the Waters World viewers, but, you know, that's probably the only time they've seen CNN. I want to ask you about some comments from Robert De Niro. I mean, this guy has been going off for quite some time, talking about how he wants to punch the president in the face. And I think he was asked about the success of Roseanne and trying to see the other side. This is what he had to say. Look at this. You ready? Let's put this up here. We're at a point with all of us where it's beyond trying to see another person's point of view. There are ways you can talk about that, but we're at a point where the things that are happening in our country are so bad, and it comes from Trump. There are so many people who have left this administration. It's a serious thing. Now, I mean, he's a terrific actor, Michelle, but I mean, terrible political commentary. There's not a lot of bad things that have come from this president. I mean, ISIS has been pretty much wiped off the map. The caliphate's gone. Manufacturing jobs are way up. Wages are bigger. But to say that you're not even going to listen to the other side is just dehumanizing the opposition, and that's dangerous.
It is, and of course this is a trend on the left for many years and decades now. It's encrusted in far-left liberal ideology, and I guess we can thank Robert De Niro for at least being transparent about it, because most of these faux progressives will pay lip service to tolerance, but they justify their intolerance, they justify their incitements to violence, they justify their hatred in the name of social justice, and I think it's about time that more of them, like Robert De Niro, drop the pretense, and so we can see them for who they truly are. And the thing about President Trump is he has been able to expose the true colors of so many of the enemies, not just of conservatives, but of America.
You know, you're right. He brings out the best in people that sometimes work for him, and then he brings out the worst in people. You've seen that in CNN. You've seen that in Hollywood. And I agree, and it's interesting because the Democrats always want to empathize and hear what the other side has to say. If it's North Korea, they want to hear from them. If it's the mullahs in Iran, they want to know and empathize and hear their point of view and talk about root causes. But when it comes to their fellow Americans, Republicans and Trump voters, they don't have any empathy. They don't have any sympathy. They don't even want to hear. Speaking of people in Hollywood, another guy really sounded off. Now, this guy's a famous director, Josh Whedon, or something like that. He did The Avengers. Listen to what he tweeted. He actually had to delete it. He says this: Donald Trump is killing this country. Some of it quickly, some slowly, but he spoils and destroys everything he touches. He emboldens monsters, wielding guns, governmental power, or just smug doublespeak, or Russia. My hate and sadness are exhausting. Die, Don, just quietly die. First of all, that's just a word salad, Michelle. I can't even make any sense of that. But die, Don, die, to punctuate it. Could you imagine if a conservative film director said something like that about Obama?
Yeah, well, we know what would happen. Of course, these double standards have existed far beyond the Obama administration. But there's a couple of things that are going on here. And one is the shield of immunity with which so many of these hateful liberals who wish death not only upon Donald Trump, but his entire family, all conservatives and Republicans in public life. I've been subject to it for 25 years. So have you. as you've gotten more prominent as well, Jesse, and it just is a part of being conservative that we have to accept. But what we should not accept is the double standards of social media outlets, giants like Facebook and Twitter, that will discriminate against conservatives for conducting themselves civilly online while looking at the other way at things like this. Even just tonight, we had this fire that happened at Trump Tower, and there are verified blue check mark Twitter liberals who are gloating over this accident here at Trump Tower, even though 3 firefighters and 1 civilian were hurt. Shame on these people. It tells you something about, very important about political theory. There's something called the Overton window, right? It is the window that allows a certain amount of public discourse. And outlets like CNN that are not media, but that are dictators of what is acceptable speech, will allow the worst kind of vile behavior and speech by the left and look the other way while they try and gag our speech. This is why Fox News, the blogosphere, talk radio, alternative media are on the rise, because we will not accept a gag anymore. We will not accept the double standards.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much.